Via, via, vieni via di qui. Niente più ti lega.
Hello again, welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning in. Of course, I'm not even in focus. There we go. Oh, you guys, it's been such an exciting month. I can officially say that after a couple years of tears, frustration, stress, I can finally say that I have become an Italian citizen. But Sophie, you sound American. I know, that's because I am also an American citizen. I now have dual citizenship. I'm surprised I still have hair because it's been probably the most stressful 2 years of my life. A lot of meditation. But Sophie, how did you get double citizenship? Did you get married? No, I didn't. And Emilio and I, if you didn't watch my last video, Emilio is actually my boyfriend who I moved to Italy for. We did not want to get married just for that reason. So a reason why we chose for me to move to Italy instead of him to move to the US is because my grandfather was born in Rome and he's still alive and he's still an Italian citizen. So according to the law, it's something called Jure Sanguinis or Jure Sanguinis. I'm no speaker of Latin, so I'm so sorry if I totally butchered that. But basically, if you were born in the United States or another country, which granted you its citizenship at birth, the Jure Soli, by law of the soil is what it means in Latin. I think it's Jure, I don't know. You may claim, in my case, Italian citizenship by law of the bloodline, by a descendant, and be considered an Italian citizen if your ancestors were Italian at the time of your birth. Whew. So I don't know if this is true for any other country. I mean, I know maybe some other European countries. Not every country allows you to have dual citizenship, but I know that America does with some countries. Disclaimer, I am not by any means an expert. I am not an immigration attorney. I have not studied law. This is just based off of my own research and my own experience. If you're trying to go through the same thing, your journey may be different than mine. So this is just going off of my experience. Anyways, I completely just got sidetracked. Where was I? So you can get dual citizenship if you're an American citizen, or if you're an Italian citizen, you can get dual citizenship in the US. That basically means that you don't have to renounce your American citizenship for getting another citizenship. Does that make any sense? When I was going through this process, everybody was like, oh my God, does that mean that you have to say goodbye to your American citizenship? No! That means I can have two citizenships at the same time. So basically, where do we even begin? Before I even met Emilio, I started the process to get Italian citizenship. Well, the process of research. And then once I met him, it became real that this is a possibility and I want to live with him and live in Italy. So then I really started working hard on the process. Anyways, I should have probably made like a list of notes to make this video a lot more in order and organized. Okay, so the process for me was a nightmare and it was hard, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, has anybody gone through this process through the Jure Sanguinis? Because it takes a long time. But actually, so for example, I had to get a whole list of documents. Well, a whole list of documents. I did so much, I think I probably did months of research before I actually started getting the documents, but I started like, I want to say over 2 years ago. And to give you a background, my mother's father is Italian. He has an Italian passport. He was born in Rome, and he's not an American citizen. So for me, it was easier than maybe some other people whose like great grandparents who are no longer with us were Italian, and you have to get more like a death certificate. You have to get a lot more things. If they're alive, it's a lot easier. But anyways, so let me go through the list of everything I needed. I was born in Houston, Texas. My mother was born in New York. My father was born in Texas. My parents were married in Texas. My grandparents were married in New York. So I had to get documents from all these different states while I was living in Boston, Massachusetts. So dealing with those public offices were kind of a nightmare. So for example, the Lineage is as follows. This is what I needed. You need all the documents in original format. So that means you can't just like scan a copy of something. So for example, I needed my birth certificate in original format, my mom's birth certificate, my dad's birth certificate, my parents' marriage certificate, my mother's parents, both of their birth certificates, and her parents' marriage certificate. My grandfather has his original birth certificate from Rome, and so he gave it to me, and that made it a lot easier. All documents that are not from Italy, so pretty much all of my documents that were not my grandfather's birth certificate, you need apostilled. You guys, so what that means is, due to the Hague Convention of, I'm going to insert the year because I don't remember, means that all original documents in the US to be seen or looked at in another country need to be apostilled, which means they need to be like have a certain certification and notary from the state itself. So all of my original documents were apostilled in the state that they're from. So that means when I ordered my birth certificate and my dad's birth certificate and my parents' marriage certificate in Texas, I also had to get them apostilled in Texas. And same for my mom and my grandmother's birth certificate and my grandparents' marriage certificate in the state of New York. Then you have to get all of those documents translated by a reputable translator. So I found my translator on the Boston Italian Consulate website. If you guys are in the same process and you live there, I'm more than happy to share his information. He was great and was an amazing communicator through the entire process. It is costly. I think it was $60 per page, and I had many pages. But anyways, once you get all of those documents translated, then you have to get the translation notarized and apostilled in the state that the translations took place. So for me, Massachusetts. I'm actually going to list like all of the documents I needed in a like here. That way you can see what I needed if your mother's father is Italian. It's a lot different for any other person. It's a lot different for, I would just use my experience and the documents I needed as a little backbone, but really do your research because you don't want to mess up. I would say the most difficult part for me was trying to get an appointment with the Italian consulate in Boston. They don't take appointments by phone, and if you go on their website, there are absolutely no appointments for like the next 5 years. Every day in the morning, like first thing in the morning, I would go on the website and refresh, and look at the calendar, and nothing was open. This was so frustrating for me. It was a lot more frustrating than the documents. Yes, the documents are a lot and it's time consuming, and things got lost in the mail for me. So it was very frustrating, but the Italian consulate in Boston, Massachusetts is not, I just did not have a good experience. No hate on them, because I know they must get thousands of applications, but I don't know if all of the Italian consulates are like that in the US, but I really did not have the best experience with them. One day I actually went in person with my documents just to ask one question, and the guy actually took me in, looked at my documents and like practically like threw them and was like, "You're never gonna get citizenship with these documents. You're missing everything. I don't think you, like, who do you think you are? You're not getting citizenship in Italy." I started crying. I know that sounds stupid, but all of this like year-long hard work that I'd put into, and this guy looking at my documents, laughing in my face, telling me that I should just give up, I was so discouraged. So I kind of like took that a rest, because it was impossible to get an appointment. If you can like shed some light and you have gotten an appointment at the Italian consulate in Boston, how did you do it? Anyways, so what I ended up doing, I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna wait years to get my citizenship, not to move to Italy. So I decided to move anyways. I moved with my tourist visa. So if you have an American passport, you can be in the Schengen zone, which the Schengen zone consists, I'm gonna try to put a picture of the Schengen zone. It's most of Europe. American citizen, you have 3 months, 90 days, in a span of 180 days. So I decided to just use that, and while I'm in Italy, figure it out. So I'm in Italy. I take my entire life, stuff it in 4 suitcases, and I go to Italy on this tourist visa that I have from my US passport. And I decided that the best way for me to stay longer was to get a student visa. So I enrolled into an intense language school. It was 20 hours a week, and they helped me get through the visa process. They helped provide the documents, and I actually had to go back to Boston to get the visa. So you have to go back to your country to get the visa. So I went, after my 3 months was up, I went back to the US. Actually, I went to visit my family for a few weeks. And then I had the appointment with the consulate. Visa appointments are a lot easier than citizenship appointments. So I got the appointment for my visa. I went, oh my God. But needless to say, I got the visa. So I went back to Italy about a few weeks later with my visa, and the visa was for 6 months, okay? So the thing about this Jure Sanguinis citizenship is that you have the right to it because it's your bloodline. So I have the right to get citizenship because through my grandfather, like it's my right. So what I did was I brought all the documents that I had completely set up and finally organized, ready. I brought them with me to Italy. And it may be different. I think you can present your documents maybe on a tourist visa, but I don't know. I know that the guy told me that you can only present the documents at the commune of the city you are residing in Italy if you have residence. And the only way you can get residence in Italy is if you have a permit to stay. It's called a permesso di soggiorno. And the only way you can get the permesso di soggiorno is if you have a visa. So you need that visa. The visa is your key to getting anything. Once you get residence in Rome, you can go to the comune and you present the documents. Then you get a receipt saying that you've presented your documents, and you can technically stay in Italy until as long as it takes for them to get back to you with a yes or no answer. You guys, this was so overwhelming because I had all of my work, my blood, sweat, and tears in this like manila folder, handed them over. Few weeks later, you guys, a few weeks later, I get the call and say, congratulations, your documents were approved. You are now an Italian citizen. You guys, that day, I think I cried from tears of joy. If you haven't noticed already, I cry a lot. But I was like, oh my God, all of that work, I can't believe it. I still can't believe it today. After literally the labyrinth and all the hurdles, I can now say that I am a dual citizen. I'm so happy, and it really, I mean, maybe this is cheesy, but it really has taught me that hard work pays off. And even though this is like citizenship, to me it's a huge deal. So for me it was something really big, but if anything, if you're going through anything, just know that if you keep on going through it, you will succeed and you will get there, I promise you. It only took a couple years. I hope that you found this interesting. Maybe you found it useful. Maybe you're going through the same. I mean, I wish I found a video like this when I was going through the process. I did a lot of reading. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. That is the news. That's the most recent news in my life. And until next time, ciao.